Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last time we had a run through Pokemon Sapphire with Team Magma Leader Max's team and moves, a run that got progressively harder as the game went on. Today though, we head to Johto and Gen 2 and answer the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Silver with just a single Smoochum. Okay, let's get it out of the way. We're an Ice and Psychic type baby Pokemon. Two great attacking types. Defensively though, yikes. We have a 305 base stat total, which isn't bad. A good chunk of that is on our special attack at 85, with 65 in special defence and speed. That defence though, yikes. We have 6 weaknesses: Rock, Bug, Ghost, Steel, Fire and Dark. And 2 resistances, the types that we are in Ice and Psychic. Move-wise, we get a few decent moves via level up. Confusion and Psychic will do us nicely. Powder Snow will set us on nicely until we can get something better. Everything else though is pretty meh. By TM, we get moves that mainly use our physical stat, like Shadow Ball, Return and Mud Slap. Ice Punch will probably be vital as it is more reliable than Blizzard. I might get some use out of Thief to give us some type coverage. I might have to hope we get a good hidden power type, because there's some types we are going to struggle against with these move sets. Predictions. We have a lot of prominent weaknesses in Johto, given there are Bug, Ghost, Steel and Dark trainers. I can see Bugsy's Cypher wrecking us. Whitney's Miltank is not going to be fun. Jasmine could be unpleasant as we don't have an effective way of dealing with Steel types. I think Karen's Houndoom might straight up murder us. Beating Blue might be doable, but I think beating Red might be a bit beyond us. We'll see. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Smoochum. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but I can heal outside of battle. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. This challenge was suggested by StillGen16 on the Discord. If you do have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section below, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. If you do enjoy what you see, like, subscribe and ring that bell. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chikorita with Smoochum, so that I can do the whole run with it. I choose to replace Chikorita so that the rival will steal Cyndaquil, which will very much be the hardest for us to fight. I nicknamed the Smoochum Gangoro because of what it may be based on according to Bulbapedia. I get given a mission of most vital importance and then the phone number of the local village wise man. It says a lot about the wholesomeness of this franchise that nobody questions this man giving this boy this number. I level a bit before fighting the rival outside Cherry Grove City. I reckon for an easy time I will get Powder Snow for Falkner at level 13. Versus the rival, I start to use Lick, since this is actually the first fight I get the chance to do so. There are too many normal types on these routes. We land 5 of them before I get the paralysis I was hoping for. Typical really. No doubt when he gets his Ghastly, it'll be first turn paralysis every time. After that paralysis, we hit a pound that downs the Cyndaquil to give us a win. That wasn't too bad. I think he might get worse as time goes by. I have a decent level advantage ahead of the Flying Gym and a super effective stab move. How long do we think this fight with Falkner will take? I mean, I'm curious. In the Gen 2 games, it's not like he's hard at the best of times. Not long is the answer, as we can one-shot both the Pidgey and the Pidgeotto with Powder Snow, and we can wreck his dad's cherished bird Pokemon. That'll teach him for not raising his own team. I go wandering across the land, searching far and wide for opponents, because I feel like for the next bit of the game I am going to need to be massively over-leveled. The Bug Gym is next, and since we are weak to that type, Cypher could be an issue. I think I'll need to be able to outspeed it to have a chance, without getting supremely lucky anyway. We're going to put that theory to the test. I head towards the gym at level 22. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be easy, I know that. We do have confusion, so there is at least a good way to deal with Kakuna without worry of being poisoned. When the fight begins, Metapod is a one-hit with Powder Snow. I hate Bugsy's team so much in terms of Gen 2 variety, of which there is none. Kakuna is a one hit with confusion, and then the Cypher comes out. It misses Fury Cutter, which is massive as we wreck most of its health with Powder Snow before we get hit with Quick Attack and down it at the second attempt with another Powder Snow. Now that miss was vital. Before we leave town, we have to beat the rival once more as he ambushes us at the exit, and it's game on as he brings out his Ghastly. We have a level advantage though, so I'm not too concerned. We blast it with Confusion for an easy victory. Quilava is next, and we should be able to tank any fire moves decently actually, due to decent special defence. We 2-hit it with Confusion, but get hit with Smokescreen in exchange. Zubat is also a one hit, and so he vents his vitriol and runs off again. Oh dear, it's time for the Satanic Cow next, and I'm really worried about this. With our defences, Whitney's Miltank is probably going to wreck us in 1 or 2 hits. This is not going to be pleasant, I know that. I do have Sing, but getting it to land is a massive gamble. I think we make an attempt where we try to brute force it with Ice Punch, because that was special for whatever reason in this game. Anyway, we can one-hit Clefairy with Ice Punch, so that's cool, pun intended. Satanic Bovine is next, and I am surprised to see we are faster as we land the Ice Punch to wreck most of its health. It hits Stomp, and even though we are 9 levels higher, it manages to take out nearly half our health before we finish it off with a second Ice Punch. Now that was nowhere near bad as expected. We can move on to Ecruteak City next, and all the stuff we can do there. I figure it might be ideal to face Morty, since we do have a type advantage in theory. Problem is, he has one versus us as well, so we'll have to see how this goes. I could do that, but instead I decide to head over to the Lake of Rage and get the Hidden Power TM, because I'm curious. Water would be about the best possible outcome, so I make the long walk over there, fighting everything in my path, because getting Psychic for the Ghost Gym would be bonus. But I think we might be okay with Confusion, given the level advantage we're building up. I finally get the Hidden Power TM, and I'm hopeful, at least at the start anyway. All the way up until I try it out in a fight, and since our Hidden Power doesn't affect Girafarig, I think it's fair to say that it might be Ghost type. Oh dear, not good. Oh well, I trundle back to Ecruteak and head for the gym. We will see how we do versus Morty. I am reasonably confident. If it's an L, then we come back when we're stronger. I don't think we'll one-hit Gengar though. That is my theory. Ghastly is up first, and we blast it with Confusion to knock it out hard, and that is a quarter of the fight done. Haunter goes down to Confusion, the first Haunter that is, and so far, so good. Here comes Gengar though. Oh, we're faster, and we one-hit it before it can start to mess with us. That was good. Last is the second Haunter, and it goes the same way as the rest of the fight. Nice indeed. 4 badges down. We have got a bit of a trek before the next gym, and so I start off walking. I figure I might as well do the Burn Tower rival fight while I am here. We don't want him getting ideas above his station after all. I use the Mud Slap TM since it is about the best we get for fighting steel types. I also got Psychic while I was outside the city before I remembered this fight was a thing. Haunter, out first, gets blasted with Psychic, and given we've got decent enough experience of fighting ghosts at this point, that's not a surprise. Quilava also has its brain full on melted by Psychic, and that can't even land a blow before Magnemite is next. We hit Mud Slap, it survives narrowly, and then it misses Supersonic before we down it with the second one. That fills me with confidence for the Steel Gym. Last is Golbat, and we down it with Ice Punch. With plenty of walking and swimming later, we end up in Cianwood City. Well, I feel pretty good about my chances versus Chuck here, so it's time to go for it, I guess. We are quite frail, but if we can one-hit him with Psychic, then us being frail doesn't really make much of a difference. Yep, I'm a glass cannon for most of this run, it looks like. Using Psychic on his Pokemon is my intricately thought out plan, and I'm glad to say it pays off, as first the Primeape gets folded like a lawn chair thanks to our mental prowess, and then the Poliwrath doesn't do much better and goes crashing down. That's 5 badges and we're moving through the gears now. I figure I might make a try on the Steel Gym, but I'm really not hopeful. We'll probably not be able to do it at this point, but anything can happen, I guess. I'm strangely not too worried about Steelix. I think the issue will be the Magnemite. They know Supersonic and Thunderwave and Eva will be a problem, as we see in this attempt. Mudslap does just over half on the first Magnemite. We get hit by Supersonic, but we take it out with the second one. That was fortunate, but our luck runs out as Steelix emerges from its Pokeball. It has bad special defense, so I reckon Ice Punch will do some good damage, even if it isn't super effective. Unfortunately, we hit ourselves twice in confusion, and then it just ends us with Iron Tail. So that didn't go to plan. I need to be stronger then, don't I? So, let's go do the Rocket Hideout and the Ice Gym. I fly to the Lake of Rage and confront the Red Gyarados in the lake. I had already evolved a Magikarp for an HM slave earlier, so I don't catch it. Gyarados is a surprisingly good HM slave in this game, as it can learn Surf, Waterfall, Whirlpool and Strength. Anyway, Lance tasks us with helping him investigate. I'm not sure why he needs our help, but oh well, it gives us the chance to get stronger as we head south to Mahogany Town once again and fight our way through the Rocket Hideout. And while we do, this gives us the chance to talk about what's ongoing on the channel. In the week just gone, I did some uploads. I put up episode 4 of the Skyward Sword playthrough, which features one of the cutest races of beings I've ever seen in any franchise ever. I also went back to uploading episodes of Resident Evil Revelations 2 after a 2-week hiatus while I did the Village DLC, with episodes 13 and 14 being uploaded. I might have another 2 weeks worth of episodes left for that, so I best get cracked on with the Resident Evil 1 remake playthrough. That might be tricky going forward. We'll talk about why later. There was episode 25 of Fable Anniversary. I've got another 2 weeks worth of episodes left of that playthrough. Plus, we did also have episodes 23 and 24 of Let's Go Pikachu. I have actually finished as much of that playthrough as I am willing to do right now, so I'm not sure how the uploading will work into next week. If everything's gone to plan, this is being uploaded on 19th of November 2022. On the 18th, there is rather a big Pokemon event going down as Scarlet and Violet release, so I might be getting a lot of playing in of that where I can. I've had my copy of Violet pre-ordered for weeks now. I'm going to talk a bit more about this in the outro. I suppose you want to know about what I'm going to be doing for next week's Pokemon Challenge. So, we are doing a baby Pokemon run this week, and we will be doing the same next week. Next week, join me once again as I tackle Pokemon Fire Red with just a single Cleffa. That one might well be interesting. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. While you are in there, I'll point out that there is also a link to my Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel. If you can't, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're watching, that is enough in itself. So again, very big deep thank you from the bottom of my heart that you are here. Anyway, back to your regular scheduled entertainment. Ice Gym time and the face-off with Price. I don't think we will have too many issues here. It's not like we have to worry about being frozen after all, is it? And that's possibly the only sort of real concern that we'd have versus the old man. His Seal is a one-hit with Psychic, which removes that from the equation as a problem. Dugong is a little bulkier though and survives Psychic on a sliver before hitting us for a 6 of our health with a headbutt, but we down it with Mudslap. Piloswine is last and I hit it with an Ice Punch for big damage before it chooses to use Mist as its sole chance of attacking. He heals it, another Ice Punch puts it in red health before we finish it off with Mudslap. 6 badges down. Right, I'll get a few more levels and then I'll go back to try my hand versus Jasmine once again. We should be in a better position right now. We need to be strong enough to one-hit the Magnemite with Mud Slap. Now that is a tall order, but I guess we shall see. This fight is a tale of two crits. We hit a crit Mud Slap on the first Magnemite to down it, giving us an early win in the fight, and that is massive because she sends Steelix in next. Without being confused, I call for an Ice Punch and we down Steelix with a single hit. Neutral damage, low special defense, high special attack, we end it good. The last Magnemite survives Mud Slap and hits us with a crit Thunderbolt, but we finish it off with a second Mud Slap to give us a win. That went better than I think it had any sort of right to. We've got the Team Rocket Radio Tower stuff next, but the only real fight of note in this whole section is the rival one in the Goldenrod Underground, which we soon do get to. We're getting stronger with every fight, so he shouldn't be too much of an issue. Maybe his Magnemite will be a problem for the same reason that Jasmine's Magnemite were. Anyway, Golbat goes down to an Ice Punch, which is expected. I remember then that he has Sneasel, which isn't ideal since it resists both of our stab types. I hit it with an Ice Punch, we get a crit and down it in one hit. That was exceptionally fortunate. Quilava is next and we blast it with Psychic to down it with that single hit before Magnemite comes out next. It survives Mud Slap, misses Thunder Wave and then goes down to another Mud Slap. Wow, that was pretty fortunate. Haunter goes down to Psychic to give us the win. Through Ice Path I go and eventually we end up in Blackthorn City and it's time for the Dragon Gym. So, think we'll have any problems? Not at first, maybe Kingdra, but we should be very much okay. After all, this is the one gym we shouldn't have an issue with. So, we do win this first attempt, but there is one very hairy moment. The first Dragonair is a one-hit with Ice Punch. We even have the Never Melt Ice on, just to be on the safe side. Then, she goes to Kingdra, and we blast it with Psychic for massive damage, but it does survive. It then goes for Hyper Beam, and it hits us like a frigging train, critting and leaving us on 2 HP from full health. I was feeling strangely smug right up until that hit. She can't heal though on the recharge turn and we down it with another Psychic attack. Thankfully, neither of the other Dragonair have priority moves and we very quickly down both of them with Ice Punch. Neither of them comes close to being a threat and after the exchange we defeat them both, meaning that once we've done her nonsense in Dragon's Den, we get the 8th badge. Last order of business before the Elite Four is the Victory Road rival fight. I think we'll be okay. It's not like he's been a challenge for the rest of the run. His Sneasel, out first in the fight, is a one-hit with Return, which sets us up nicely. Typhlosion is next and we blast it head-on with Psychic to knock it down and put it on its ass. Golbat also goes down to Psychic and just like that, we're halfway there. Magneton is the one I'm worried about as it survives our Mud Slap and then misses Thunder Wave once again before we down it at the second attempt. Haunter goes down to Psychic before Kadabra, Outlast, goes down to Return. Done and done. We reach the Indigo Plateau and let's take a look at the stats ahead of our Elite Four challenge. Well, special attack, special defense and speed are all pretty good. Physical attack actually isn't terrible. That defense though, I'll say it for the third time, yikes. Oh well, I knew it might end up like this. I'll see how far we go. I think there will be 2 big obstacles in the first 3 fights. Anyone want to take guesses on if we can do this at this level or not? Comment away now. Psychic Trainer Will is first and most of his team shouldn't be bad. There are 2 opponents I'm concerned about though. One of them shouldn't be too bad. One of them is going to be awful, I can already tell. We begin the fight and down his first Xatu with Ice Punch. That was pretty simple. Now, Jynx is next. I am aware that it could be a problem, but I'm not too worried as we down it with a single Return. That solved that problem pretty quickly. Slowbro is next, and this is one of those obstacles I was talking about because we don't really have a good way of hurting it. His Slowbro tanks a return on the first turn and goes for Amnesia, just in case I was thinking of using one of my 2 power moves. 3 returns and a Mud Slap bring it down finally. Meanwhile, we do get tagged with a pair of body slams for decent damage, and I'm terrified of paralysis, but thankfully it never comes. Xatu number 2 goes down to Ice Punch before Executor also goes down to Ice Punch. Now, that was relatively simple, Panic Moments versus Slowbro aside, so 1 down. Poison Trainer Koga is up next, and this could be worrying. Like Will, he has one big obstacle in his team that we don't have a particularly good way to deal with. So, I guess we'll have to see how this goes. 4 out of 5 shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, Ariados goes down to Psychic. The obstacle in Fortress comes out next. I throw an Ice Punch at it in a hit and hope. It does big damage and lands a freeze as well, which is huge, as we then take the slow approach to downing it, using a Mud Slap and a bunch of returns to save PP on our power moves. That went way better than expected. Crobat goes down to a crit Ice Punch before Muck is out next, and we blast it with a Psychic attack to floor it. Last is Venomoth, and it also can't stand up to our Psychic attack, as we down it to give ourselves an easy win. The next one should be really easy, as we have Fighting Trainer Bruno. I'm not concerned here, as we have a type advantage over all 5 of his Pokemon. So let's get this done then. Hitmontop out first is a 1-hit with Psychic, and I'm sure we all saw that coming. Hitmonchan out next goes for Mach Punch and inflicts some damage, but we shrug it off and blast it with Psychic to knock it out. Onix is next, and it goes down to Ice Punch before Machamp comes out 4th. Bruno's Machamp fares about as well as the previous 3 have, and it goes down to a single Psychic before Hitmonlee comes out, and we complete the sweep with another Psychic attack for the win. Let's move on. Next one probably won't be easy though, as we have Dark Trainer Karen, and I'd be worried about her Umbreon and Houndoom. The former because it's annoying with Sand Attack tactics, Sand Tactics if you will, and the latter because it is pretty much Jynx line Kryptonite. We'll have to see. Yeah, it goes badly. Umbreon isn't something we can one-hit with Ice Punch, and we duly get hit with Sand Attack. Our next Ice Punch misses, and we get blasted with Confuse Ray before taking it out. Versus Houndoom, we hit ourselves in confusion and then lose most of our health to its Flamethrower before it tanks our Mud Slap and ends with a Pursuit. That went pretty badly. Okay. Let's go have a rethink of this. I grind and get some PP ups because I was worried about running out of Psychic power points in that last effort. We go again soon after and we wander out to face Karen at level 71. The problem is Umbreon because once again we can't one-hit it with Ice Punch, and it nearly costs us the fight when we get hit with Sand Attack. We take it out with Return. Houndoom out next is a 2-hit with Return, but we get blasted by Flamethrower, which does decent damage. Gengar is next and we blast it with Psychic to end it before she goes for Murkrow. We miss our first Ice Punch and get tagged with Feint Attack before we do hit the attack at the second attempt. Versus Vileplume, we miss 2 Psychics and get hit with Stun Spore and 2 rounds of Petal Dance, which nearly ends us. It leaves us on red health before finally we down it, and it's a huge relief that we've won. I think we should be okay versus Lance. Aerodactyl and Charizard may be issues, but I don't think the rest of his team will be too bad. So, anyway, let's go and fight the Dragon Master. Gyarados is up first and we one-hit it with Psychic. I'd say that's a pretty good start for sure. Charizard is also a one-hit with Psychic, and probably one of his deadliest obstacles is out of the way. Well, I sure hope I can screw Red's Charizard up that easily. We then go on a rampage with the Freezing Fists of Fury and down the rest of his team with Ice Punch as we outspeed Aerodactyl and down it before Gangoro works her way through the 3 Dragonite, calmly punching each of them out. Each of them are a one hit, and with that display of frigid martial arts mastery, we become the champion and can go and enter the Hall of Fame while the credits roll. Now, of course, it's not over yet, as we have all of Kanto to battle our way through. The most prominent fights, the only ones worth talking about, are the ones versus blue and red. So, those will be the ones we examine. As always, the rest of the leaders aren't worth talking about. We fire through the first 7 gym leaders and then march up to the Viridian City Gym to face blue. He calls us Johto Boy, which sounds like some sort of superhero sidekick, and then we fight. Pidgeot is a one hit with Ice Punch, so that's a great start. Arcanine is a one hit with Psychic. We've just got one of his biggest obstacles down. Alakazam is a one hit with Return, nice. Rhydon is a one hit with Ice Punch. Next is Gyarados, and this is an annoying fight as we can't quite one hit it with Psychic, and he continues to spam full restores over and over on it, meaning we've got to wear it down again and again until finally he either runs out of full restores or just gives it up as a bad job, one of the two. The only chance he gets to attack us, he uses Rain Dance. What an idiot. Last is Executor, and we one hit it with Ice Punch. That's 16 badges in hand, and with that we can open up the way to Mount Silver and the final fight with Red. I am worried about this, I'm not going to lie. I do not think we will be able to do it at this level, but I'm happy to wander up and take a stab at it. We might need to go and grind some more. Snorlax might be his biggest obstacle because it has great special defense. Plus, just to exacerbate that issue, just to make things even worse, it knows Amnesia. Charizard could be an issue too. Anyway, our first round on Red at level 83 doesn't actually go that bad. Pikachu is a one hit with Psychic. I am surprised we outspeed when we're only 2 levels higher. Charizard is a 2 hit with Psychic, but it does inflict pretty bad damage on us with Flamethrower, even with our great special defense. We do have leftovers on, but it's not enough. Espeon is faster than us and hits us with 2 Psychic attacks, which whittle down our health even as we take it out with Ice Punch and Return. We hit an Ice Punch on Snorlax for about a quarter of its health, but it does hit us with Body Slam, and at low health there is no way we are surviving that. I'm going to grind and try again. So though, eventually I make another try at level 88. We should hit a bit harder this time. Once again though, our issue comes versus Snorlax. We hit an Ice Punch and it goes for Amnesia. I throw a couple of Mud Slaps at it to try and wreck its accuracy, but thanks to Espeon using Reflect, they do little damage. As a result, it hits us with 1 Body Slam and we still nearly go down, but we do get paralysed and there is very little we can do after that. I make a third attempt at level 92. I have the double team TM and I'm seriously considering using it to replace Mud Slap. Let's give that a try and see if that gives us any more fortune. So, versus Pikachu, we use a double team and it immediately lands Thunder and paralyses us. So, we are not winning this fight. That was ridiculously unlucky. We do take Pikachu and Charizard down, but we lose to Espeon in that round. Charizard does at least miss 1 Flamethrower on us. Hey, we are actually at the point where we can nearly one-hit Charizard. So that's interesting. Maybe I max out our level and we take it from there. Here are our stats at level 100, with special attack and special defense both being better than what we normally use in these challenges. Hey, even that speed is pretty good. I'm still worried about that defense though. I guess we'll have to see how we do. I'll make a few runs at this and see how it goes. I am still worried about that Snorlax though, I must say. Anyway, first run after we max our level, we use a double team versus Pikachu and it misses Charm, which might just turn out to be massive. We blast it with Psychic. I don't feel the need to play around with double team versus Charizard. I don't want to push my luck, so I just blast it in submission with a single Psychic and we knock it out. We can tank Espeon's Psychic attacks quite well, so I go for a few more double teams. It puts Reflect up, and that makes my choice as I go for more double teams, because I don't want Reflect up when we face Snorlax, so I have to wait out the clock. Espeon does no Swift, which isn't ideal, but barring one crit, we do manage to take those Swifts fairly uneventfully. When I think the Reflect is about to run out, I knock it out with Ice Punch and return, timing it perfectly, as we have 5 double teams up going into Snorlax. We blast it with Psychic for just over half its health, but it goes for Amnesia, so I can't use that tactic again. I hit return and put it on red health before it then uses rest to very slowly recover its health. Okay, that's annoying. We do crit a return on it as it misses Snore before we do put it on red health as it does land a Snore on us at the second attempt. It wakes up, misses Body Slam, and we finally down it, and that is a huge relief because I don't think we're going to struggle too much versus Venusaur and Blastoise. Psychic downs Venusaur, and 2 more Psychics put an end to Blastoise, who takes the only chance it has to attack us to use Rain Dance. Well, that went well. Now, that bit at the end was quite rough, but we got through it, so I am relieved at that. Smoochum definitely isn't bad. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for joining me on another Pokemon challenge. Definitely a fun run. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe away, and ring that bell. Help the channel grow. Join me again this time next week for another Pokemon challenge as we answer the question of if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red using just a single Cleffa. I'm prepared for a fair bit of pain right there, so we will have to see how that one goes. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section or check out the description of the video for links to my Twitter or my Discord, as well as the aforementioned Patreon. Outro time. So, at the time of recording, Scarlet and Violet were still a few days away, but at the time of this video going live, they're already out. I went for Violet, largely because of Ceruledge. I have no idea of the pronunciation, but from next week, there'll be a few more episodes than normal devoted to the Let's Play of that game. I'm not going to play the whole thing in a week and upload 6 times a day. I do still have a full-time job, so I guess you can join me on that when I do play it. I've got a pretty good idea what I'm going to pick as a starter. I have been trying to avoid spoilers to a point, but some of them have slipped through, either by accident or me thinking, oh well, I might as well now. But I guess we'll have to see what's what when we start playing. I am quite pleased that to this point I have managed to avoid story spoilers, so I've only seen a few new Pokemon. I've seen what the starters evolve into. I've seen the stuff about that. Now I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, we are signing off now. As always, this has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Silver with a Single Smoochum. Take care now, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.